Hello everyone. Happy August 1st to everyone. Hope everybody's doing well. Today we're going to have a two package opening and a little bit of an investigation. So I'm going to, in the interest of trying to make this quick, I'm going to do it in three parts and try to make each one as quick as possible. First package that I'm going to open is, some of you may recognize this, it's international, and where it's from is, to save time I open it, is from Mad Bob's, and this is for a hand finished 6-piece pry bar set. I saw some people using these and had these, and I saw that William Mansell included one in his recent giveaway, but regardless of that, I was a pessimist and didn't think I was going to win that giveaway. So, excuse me, I placed an order, and I ordered the one with the case, and I thought, well, you know what, I can keep all my tension tools in this case, hopefully. So here it is opened, and there we go. The Mad Bob set with it's Velcro nylon looking case. It's got 3 of these curved pry bars. It looks like in increasing thickness. I don't know if you can see that here. Each one is a little bit thicker than the other. Maybe I'll try to put a little light on this. That's probably too much light. But and then we have 3 straight ones, which will be handy. So 3 curved, S-shaped, and 3 straight ones in the Mad Bob kit. And I will, like I said, I was planning on using this case to keep some of my other pry bars and tensioning tools in here. So I got that going for me, right? Thank you. Now on to the next part. This next part is an investigation, as it were, into the Sesame 900 that I'm including in my giveaway that I announced in my last video. Bear's back, who I won this from, so I'm regifting it actually. Excuse me. He said he didn't think it had standard pins in it. I said it was an easy pick, and I believe it just had standard pins. And he pointed out that he did not think that it had standard pins in it. So I thought, well, let me gut it and see what's inside. So even though I was hesitant, because with as steady as I am, I'm not a very good gutter, that's for sure. And so I'm going to show what's inside here. And once again, I apologize for the light, but I actually did this left-handed, I guess, as it were. The first pin is a long, let me look at the key bitting here on this lock. The first, of course, there I go. The pins are flying already. So, make a long story short, Bear's back was absolutely right. This lock has serrated pins. It has some serrated drivers. The first one here is in the front for steel, for drill protection, I guess. A serrated driver and a standard steel pin. Then we have a short standard pin with a spool, a longer driver pin serrated with a spool, a serrated driver with another spool, with a standard, and a standard key pin with a spool driver. So that's serrated, standard, serrated, serrated, standard. Now I should point out here that when I went to gut this, the first part went good. I was able to get the core out of the lock successfully. And then what did I go and do? I put the key in and proceeded to fumble around, looking at the back of it, and I 180'd the core. And of course, what happens when you 180 the core? The key pins drop out through these holes. So I had all the key pins fall out all over the place. I lost one of them. I eventually did find it, but I had no idea which key pin was from which hole. So I was like, oh my, what could happen worse, you know? And I shortly got my answer to what could happen worse. And the answer was, what could happen worse is you can't get the plug out because the drivers are now pushing up, and they're caught in this ridge, in this groove here. So the drivers are caught in the groove. I can't pull it out. I proceed to get a shim and try to get a shim in there. I'm trying to push them down. I'm trying to push the drivers down with my pick so I can rotate it. I'm not having any luck. I said, finally, it took me a better part of an hour, I'm ashamed to say. So now I put a shim in the back here, and I'm trying to push that in and having a heck of a time. And I do get the shim in. I figure, hey, the shim's good. I get my follower that I got from Bill Bacardi. I push it in, and lo and behold, the next thing I know, the driver pins are shooting up through these holes. I guess through the holes. One of them flies up in the air, goes over my shoulder behind me. So now the driver's pins fly out. I have driver pins and springs everywhere. So I had no idea which driver was in which hole. And I had one driver pin mysteriously on the floor behind me somewhere. The good news is I kept my patience, didn't get too flustered, and I was able to find the driver pin that was on the floor. The other thing that happened, and it was funny, as I was fiddling around with this, I had the shim in there, and I dropped the shim. I dropped the shim, and I swear I was saying to myself, it's proof of a black hole, because I dropped that shim. I couldn't have dropped it more than 2 inches, and it was gone. It was nowhere to be seen. I mean, how could it have disappeared? I mean, it's not a pin, it's a large shim. And long story short, I found it. I found it, and where it was somehow it went from here and it landed in my lap. So eventually, when I got up and started looking around for the shim that mysteriously went in a black hole, I found it in my lap. So then the next thing I had to do was figure out which pins went into which position. And so I knew that the steel pins were probably in the front for drill protection, so that was done. And then I proceeded to populate the key pins into the core with the key in to put them in their proper position. I was able to find that. And then I used some logic on the drivers. I said, well, the steel driver has to be in 1 because it's in the front of the lock. And then I said the highest, which one has a standard pin? They're all spools after that. I have 3 spools and a standard for drivers. And I said to myself, well, the standard would have to be in the least effective position, which would be position 4, because it's the longest pin. And so why waste a spool on that long pin? So I'm going to maybe do a short video once I get these put into the plug, and I'll show you the effectiveness of this. That's what I'll try to do anyway. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Of course, what did I do? As soon as I turned the camera off and started to pick up the pins, I bumped the pinning tray and all the pins went flying. So I had to figure them out again, which position was which. But here's all the pins in with the key in, all perfectly smooth. So the key pins are definitely in the right position. As you see, pin 1 is the steel pin, so I figure the steel key pin, I feel the steel driver would go in the front, and it would be effective. I mean, it does need to be picked. It's in a little bit and would hang up, so that needs to be picked. The rest of these are spooled, except for one of them is not a spooled pin. It's a standard, and so to just demonstrate the effectiveness of the spools, which may go without saying, you can see that pin 2 is very deep, so that spool gets buried in there, and you get a very effective spool action on position number 2. Position number 3, I guess not so much, really. Basically, the bottom part of the spool is in there, and as soon as you lift it, the spool's not that effective. Position number 4 would be totally ineffective, because the spool, the bottom part of the spool wouldn't even fill up the gap there. So that's where I'm figuring the standard pin was, in position number 4. Position number 5 is very deep, and the spool would definitely be effective there. So I figured 5 is where the spool was, or should have been, and that's how I'm going to put it back. The one that's a standard pin, I figured had to be in 4. So once again, Bear's back was exactly right. This lock does have serrations. It does have spools. I don't know why I thought it had standard pins, other than I seemed to pick it pretty easily. So, and maybe that was due to the fact that 1 was 2 standards with the steel, and 4 was basically, a standard. No spool effectiveness on 1 or 4, and you had limited spool effectiveness on 3. The real only spool effectiveness was on 2 and 5. And of course you did have some slight serrations. So Bear's back, you were exactly right. Hopefully I can get this lock back together and working. I will maybe at the end of the video show me working the lock with this key at the end, just to demonstrate and let you know that I was successful. Okay, now for the third part of the video. The third part of the video is the second package opening. This is the first package was the Mad Bob's pry bar set. This one is obviously an eBay package that I received today. So I did open it ahead of time just to save time on me fumbling around. So I will dump it out here. Hopefully the inside is not packed that well. And here we are. I think you can probably see what it is already. It is a very nice, a very heavy American Series 2000. I guess I would call this a puck lock with the key. No, it's all totally dead core here. It pulls out to allow the retraction. The key with it out is captive, I guess. Once you put it in, you can turn it and remove the key. Here is the bitting on that key. You can see we have a 1 pretty high, then it goes quite low. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if this is a 6 pin or not, but look how low that number 4, a 3, and then 4 goes even lower. So I'm very happy with the bitting on this. Very happy with my first puck lock purchase. You can see this has been used. It's got a little patina on the key. The way it comes out kind of with some difficulty maybe due to that aggressive bidding here. So this is a good one. I'm very happy to have won this on eBay. That's it for this video, and like I said, I will follow up with some pictures at the end with me successfully, hopefully, getting this Sesame 900 back together so it can take its place as part of the giveaway. Thank you, and have a great day. Okay, success. As you can see, the Sesame 900 padlock is back together. It is working with the proper key, and I just have a couple quiz questions for you. What is worse than 180ing the core, taking it apart, and not having to think too long? It's 180ing the core, putting it back together, which I have to admit I did. And one final question, quiz question, to complete the trifecta: what's worse than 180ing the core on disassembly and reassembly? It is getting everything back together and finding that the key doesn't work in the core, in the lock, and then looking down at the tray and seeing all the key pins sitting in the tray as you're trying to get the key to work. So there we go, friends. Live and learn. I guess the old adage, you learn from your mistakes. Well, I think I made every mistake humanly possible on this lock, but all's well that ends well, I guess. I'm past when I usually hit the sack for the night, but I did manage to get the lock back together, and I did manage to prove that Bear's Back was correct. This does have security pins in it. But it still is an easier pick, and I think it's because of the ineffectiveness of the security pins in positions 1 and positions 4. So you're only playing with 3 security pins, and so it's not a bad pick. It's easier than the 1100 in the giveaway. And I thank you for watching and putting up with my story here. So I have the puck. Oh, I have this puck lock. I have my Mad Bob set, and I have this back together after gutting it and reassembling it, making all those mistakes. Thanks for watching, friends. Have a great day.